Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Modern, and today we're back with another episode of Road to the Top. We're fighting our way up through the 1800s. As of now, I believe we are just at the 1800s, and so obviously from here, if we either lose a game or win a game, that sort of decides if we're going to stay in it. And if we do, then hopefully we can keep rising up. Right now, I believe I'm in the top 20 in the U.S. for Battle Spot right now, which is pretty good. Um, my goal is to try to get up to first. I believe I just need to break above 1900, and I'm actually the first in the U.S. And that should also put me in range of the top 10 or top 5 on Battle Spot in the world. So that's our goal. Um, Obviously, things don't always go as planned. We've had times where we've gotten hacked out in the past, but yeah, our goal for the next few episodes is basically climb up the 1800s and see how high we can get. Um, this series is called Road to the Top, so hopefully we can actually get up to the top, which would be pretty cool. Um, as usual, like I said, um, things can happen though. So let's see if we can even find anybody. Um, Sometimes it takes like 4 or 5 minutes to try to find someone to queue up against. Just because once you're at these higher ratings, the game tries to not pair you with as low of rated players, and instead, usually you're going to get someone within what is it? Usually like 150 points of you. So like for me, the lowest rating person I was actually going to say is 1650s around. We're going to play Han Yoho something from Mexico, and it's going to be a pretty interesting team. Rayquaza, Gengar, Groudon, Purugly, Kangaskhan, and Ferrothorn. So, Yveltal and Salamence are going to be very strong for this match. Um, the only reason I'm not bringing Kangaskhan to this match is because there's a good possibility that they could bring Gengar, and I think that the Intimidate support is going to be way too important for us. In the back, I'm going to go Groudon and Cresselia. Um, I'm changing this setup a little bit instead of using Thundurus against this team, just because normally in the place of Gengar, there's usually something like Weavile or maybe an opposing Thundurus, which can obviously give me a lot of issues with setting up Trick Room. But since Gengar is so easy to beat with since Gengar is so easy to beat with Yveltal, and then I can just outspeed it with Mega Salamence, then usually I'm in a pretty good position. My opponent's actually going to lead off with the Groudon and the Gengar here, though, so pretty threatening lead. I can definitely just go for a Mega Evolution and a Protect with my Salamence, as well as a Snarl. Snarl just to drop the special attack of my opponent's Pokemon, as well as break a potential Sash on the Gengar. If it does happen to be Mega Gengar, then the next turn I can just Hyper Voice and go for a Sucker Punch. But regardless here, any combination of moves my opponent goes for really shouldn't be able to pick up a knockout. Because obviously, Salamence right here, if it is just regular Gengar, and I do break its Sash, and I don't even need to break its Sash, if they double protect as well, I'm still in a good position. Then I can just Sucker Punch them the following turn, as they are actually the Mega Gengar, so there's a good possibility we'll see a Hidden Power Ice come out right here, but more likely than not, I will be able to just go for a Hyper Voice and a Sucker Punch next turn. This is primarily the reason why I went for the Protect with Salamence, because getting caught off guard by a Hidden Power Ice or an Icy Wind can really set you in a bad position. Salamence is going to Protect, so their Gengar is not protecting here, and and they go for a Will-O-Wisp with Gengar here, so that's pretty interesting. Will-O-Wisp and Yveltal. I am primarily a special attacker, though, on this build, although oh, wow, and I crit the Gengar. I was going to say, I'm primarily a special attacker with Dark Pulse, and I probably wouldn't be going for Foul Play in this situation anyways, as my opponent goes for Eruption. So they are the special Groudon, which we do occasionally see. Yveltal taking a little bit of damage from the burn, but that's really not going to be too significant. I assume they'll bring in Rayquaza this next turn, but I have a really safe play just to go for Snarl and probably a Double Edge into the Rayquaza. As I actually bring up Purugly, so this is still pretty interesting. Purugly is faster than my Yveltal here, and they can also potentially go for Fake Out, but besides that, I'm really not too sure what it does. Like, if it has anything weird like Icy Wind, I'm not going to be able to predict that, but the Groudon special attack is lowered right here, and I don't think they're going to be able to threaten me very much here. Purugly just goes for a fake out onto Salamence, which is completely fine. I'm just free to go for another Snarl right here. If they happen to have Hidden Power Ice, I should definitely not get knocked out, or my Salamence shouldn't be knocked out. As Purugly actually has Defiant. I didn't even know it got that. As Groudon's actually going to go for a Fire Punch into Yveltal as well. So, the Intimidate paying off right here. Let's see. Yeah, okay. Salamence should be able to outspeed the Purugly, and I think I can just go Hyper Voice and... Actually, I can just go for a Double Edge into Purugly and a Dark Pulse into Groudon. Because I don't want to accidentally lose to some, like, really weird, like... I don't know. I know that Purugly's like base 104 or something like that. I'm not sure off the top of my head. I know that Mega Salamence outspeeds it. And they're just going to let me KO Groudon. So maybe they just recognize the fact that they were already in a pretty hard losing position right here. And they just decided maybe if my opponent goes for a double in a Purugly or something. But they really had no way to win right here. As they're going to bring out Rayquaza. So yeah, that is their last Pokemon. I assume they're just going to Protect if they have Protect. If they don't, then oh well. But yeah, I can just Double Edge and Snarl right here. And they just forfeit, so that's fine. Yeah, I mean, what it would have came down to is I could have just Trick Roomed in the end game right there. So even if, like, they survived a Double Edge plus a Dark Pulse somehow, then Groudon and Cresselia could finish up the game. I was surprised to see that they brought the Mega Gengar just because it's so weak to Yveltal, but oh, and also I don't really understand why they didn't go for like HP Ice if they had it the first turn, but maybe they didn't have it. Maybe they were just running Sludge Bomb, Shadow Ball, Will-O-Wisp, and something else on Gengar, maybe Protect. Yeah, that game played out pretty weird. We probably got no points for it though, so it doesn't really make a difference. It's a win we can put on our list, and actually I need to go on my spreadsheet and put that in. Alright, 18-10, so we got 6 points for that last match. I assume from here on out, it's going to be a pretty big grind to get like any progress in the 1800s. That's usually the reason why like it takes so long for players to get up to the 1900s in the first place. Besides the fact it's difficult to even play against people at that level, just because you do go against, like in general, the players at the higher ranks of Battle Spot will be better. But yeah, I don't know. Like, it just takes so long at this rank. If you aren't playing people the same rank as you, you only get like 5 to 10 points. Whereas if you play against someone that's your rank or above, you usually get 15 to 25 sometimes even. If someone's like 100 or 150 above you. This opponent's going to be Peo from Mexico, 1734 rating, so a little bit higher rating than the last opponent. And this opponent's actually running a pretty interesting variant of the Big C team. They decided to run Amoonguss over the Salamence for some reason, which I don't really blame my opponent. Amoonguss is definitely good in tandem with Xerneas. And I'm just going to go Kangaskhan, Yveltal, Groudon, and probably Cresselia. Because being able to skill swap myself is really important. I might go for Thundurus, though, because I do have Thunder Wave, I do have Swagger. Those can easily get me out of a game, and I don't know. It depends on what I think they're going to lead. If they lead Xerneas, Kangaskhan, then it's our sort of standard like setup. If they lead Smeargle, Zern, I assume... Yeah, I think they're going to go Smeargle, Xerneas, Groudon, and Kangaskhan. If they bring Amoonguss, that's actually pretty good for me, I think. Because then I'm not too afraid of... Or, sorry, not too afraid of. I don't need to go for the Trick Room at all. And if they happen to bring Smeargle, then they're either not bringing Groudon or Kangaskhan. Or sorry, if they bring Amoonguss and Smeargle, they're not bringing one of Groudon or Kangaskhan most likely. So that's still really good for me. So yeah, I expect Kangaskhan, Xerneas as a lead right here. And then Groudon and probably it has to be Amoonguss, but Thundurus is just a little bit too weak to the redirection, I feel. I could just swagger everything. Like I said, it's not like a super hard strategy to think of. Okay, and they actually lead the Groudon and the Kangaskhan right here. So, turn 1, I'm not going to risk anything. I'm just going to go for a Fake Out into the Groudon and a Snarl with my Yveltal. The reason being is that I don't want to risk any Fake Out Speed Ties, Fake Outing their Kangaskhan or something. There's a good chance they could go for Low Kick or something right here. But yeah, I think they have to Fake Out my Yveltal. So I'm actually inclined just to probably switch out into Cresselia straight away. Because I don't want to take Fake Out damage and get Recoil. And so I'd rather just threaten them with the Trick Room. I'm surprised that my opponent led so weakly against Salamence Thundurus, though, because Salamence Thundurus is actually a pretty common lead against the Big Six. A lot of people just use it because Thundurus does a good job at beating out opposing Smeargle. My opponent actually doesn't Mega Evolve their Kangaskhan, which is pretty good for us. They actually just go for a Fake Out into Cresselia, so that's good. Like I said, I didn't want to take any of the Fake Out damage because that actually puts Yveltal in range of a lot. Let's just put it that way. And I think right here I'm actually safe to go for a Double Edge into Groudon and switch out into Yveltal again. Because they are threatened a bit by Trick Room right here. They could potentially just go for an Eruption and a Low Kick or Power Up Punch into Kangaskhan right here, but I really don't have a choice right here, because, like, okay, put it this way. If I took the damage on Yveltal, he could just KO me with a potential Double Edge the following turn. They're actually not going to switch out either Pokemon, though, so that's completely fine. I was also going to say they could protect the switch out into Amoonguss for the Kangaskhan slot. Just because they haven't Mega'd yet, and it means that if, let's say, I went for, let's say I had Low Kick or something on my Kangaskhan, that would threaten them heavily. But they actually protect Groudon. That's a play I'm fine with. They're probably just, like I said, they're probably just going to attack into Kang. So let's see, Double Edge into Kangaskhan. That's not going to KO without a crit, though, so that's pretty good. And now I think what I can go for is just a Sucker Punch into Kangaskhan and a Snarl. And if I win a Kang Speed Tie right here with the Sucker Punches, that could put me in a really good position. Just because their Kang will be in range of Snarl if I get the Sucker Punch off. They have to be afraid of Sucker Punch right here. Alright, we do win a potential Sucker Punch Speed Tie, so they're guaranteed to lose their Kang this turn. Even if they Double Edge, it just means I get single target damage. But they just go for Double Edge, so they weren't scared of the double Sucker Punch, which is interesting. Now I'm in a bad position because I have to rely on Trick Room, and they probably have Amoonguss, so yeah. I'm still really surprised that my opponent led so weakly to Salamence, but there's nothing I can do about that. There's a potential if they don't have Eruption. Okay. I was going to say, if they had Eruption right there, then there's a potential that Yveltal could have actually survived, but now I'm in a really bad position. I have to rely on Trick Room. and that's not good. At the very least... Oh, and they have Cresselia. Okay, then. Um, this comes down to if we want to predict a potential Trick Room on their side, I think. Because I'm thinking the normal Big C team usually runs Icy Wind and Thunder Wave. So there's a possibility they could just protect with Groudon and Icy Wind here. So I think that's what I have to play for. So yeah, I'm just going to protect Groudon and go for a Trick Room. If they go for Skill Swap, I can just go for a Gravity and a Precipice Blades, as they actually protect their Groudon too. So I guess they did predict this play with the Trick Room. Or maybe they were going for Icy Wind, like I said. As it is Icy Wind. Okay, so that's really good. That means I can just go for Gravity Precipice Blades. It's funny that most people don't expect, like... for their team, I'm really surprised they didn't bring Amoonguss. Just because, like... Amoonguss checks my Trick Room mode so easily. And the fact that they had Smeargle meant I was, like, inclined to lead either Thundurus or Kangaskhan. That's why I was sort of confused with their lead, but... Now they actually put themselves in a bad position, because I can just go for Gravity and a Precipice Blades. It's safe to assume that they're a faster Groudon right here, or at least not minimum speed, just because they do have the Icy Wind. If they aren't, then... Okay, but they're not. I was going to say, if they are the minimum speed Groudon, then even if they connected with a P-Blades, I could probably still beat Xerneas one-on-one. They actually go for the Skill Swap onto my Groudon, maybe expecting me to go for Levitate, or the Levitate plays, but they actually just give me Levitate here. So I'm really not too sure what they were thinking. So this has actually been a pretty goofy match so far. So my opponent didn't have Amoonguss. If they have Amoonguss right here, they lose, but it's Zern, so that's good. That's good, that's good, that's good. Their Cresselia isn't really a threat here, so I can probably just go for... Like, honestly, I can probably just Precipice Blades and Ice Beam their Cresselia. Because there's a good chance they might protect, and they do. But I go for Precipice Blades because if they don't protect, I get damage. I Ice Beam into the Cresselia here because I don't think they revealed Citrus yet, or maybe they did and it activated, and that's why they're at such high health. But if P-Blades picks up the knockout on them here, it's pretty good. No, they're actually like a really high defense Cresselia. Actually max defense, now that I think about it. They're probably just Icy Winding? Yeah. But no, my goal with attacking the Cresselia here is that if I get Precipice Blades to be single target, I'm in a really good position. They should probably Thunder Wave my Cresselia. I don't know why they're going for Icy Wind. Because if they can get a full paralysis and prevent me from going to Trick Room, for Trick Room for a turn, that could actually put them in a decent position. But they're not. They didn't go for it for some reason. Cresselia does get knocked out, and Xerneas is actually in range of another attack now, so I'm still in a really good position. They're probably just going for a Geomancy right here, but I basically win the game now. Like, what I'm going to do 100% is protect my Groudon, try to set up Trick Room again. Just in case if there's something really weird like Grass Knot or Hidden Power Ground, I don't want to lose because they have a weird move choice like that. Oh, and Trick Room doesn't even end yet, so that's pretty good. But Precipice Blades is single target, and I'm just going to Gravity just to make sure it's up still. And they just forfeit. Okay. So yeah, pretty interesting matches. The first opponent made some pretty interesting choices to bring for the match. They brought Mega Gengar instead of Kangaskhan, which it still is like, that's still pretty interesting to me. I don't know why they would go and lead that Gengar when Yveltal was such a threat to their team. And then for the second match, I'm really not too sure why my opponent brought Cresselia over Amoonguss. Maybe they figured that they wanted the Cresselia in the back just in case if I brought Salamence. Just because they could go for Icy Winds and then put their Groudon in a pretty good position. But still, though, I ended up winning that match right there. Getting up the Trick Room in the endgame was really good for me. And the fact that they didn't bring Amoonguss instead of Cresselia, or basically any one of their Pokemon for that match, is pretty interesting. Just because it put them in a really bad position if I had Trick Room. But yeah, regardless of all that, if you guys enjoyed the video, please go and leave a like. And if there's something you didn't like about the video, please give me your criticism. I really appreciate it when you guys tell me what you guys want to see, and also what you guys think I could be doing better for these videos. But yeah, go and leave a like or a dislike / give me some criticism in the comments section. And if you want to keep up with all of my content as we head towards Nationals and Worlds, make sure to go and check out my social media and hit subscribe. I'm ModernGamer. That's going to be a wrap.